இலங்கை தமிழர் விவகாரத்தில் கடைசி கட்டமாக நடந்த போர் குற்றங்கள் தொடர்பாக அனைத்து கட்சிகள் சார்பில் ஒரு சிறப்பு கவனஈர்ப்பு தீர்மானம் கொண்டு வரப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அது தொடர்பான விவாதம் தற்போது மாநிலங்களில் தொடங்கி இருக்கிறது. அதை நேரடி காட்சியில் தற்போது பார்க்கலாம்.
माननीय सदस्य महोदय को सर जो हिंदी का अनुवाद है वो उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है. मैंने हस्ताक्षर करे हैं, वो तत्काल उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है. माननीय सदस्य महोदय को कोई कष्ट नहीं होगा.
ये जो मानसिकता है हिंदी के प्रति जो उपेक्षा का भाव है
मैं
वही दर्शाता है.
अगर आप मुझे हिंदी में बोलने दें तो मैं आपको हिंदी में सुनाऊं.
देश को अंग्रेजी में ही चलाया जा रहा है. अंग्रेज चले गए लेकिन हम लोगों ने अंग्रेजी को छोड़ा नहीं और देश को अंग्रेजी भाषा में
आप और हम देश को हिंदी में ही चलाएंगे. आप मुझे हिंदी में कहने दें, लेकिन मैं आपको एक बता दूं.
No, let's.
The issue is about the Tamil tradition,
right.
not about the language.
Right.
सर मैं माननीय सदस्य महोदयों को इतना बता दूं कि हिंदी भाषा और अंग्रेजी में दोनों में ये उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है. ये सही है कि बहुत सारे हमारे सदस्य यहाँ ऐसे भी हैं सदस्यगण जिनको माननीय सदस्यगण जिनको शायद हिंदी की भाषा में पूरी बात शायद अच्छी तरह से उपलब्ध नहीं हो पाएगी. अंग्रेजी की अपेक्षा करते हैं, इसलिए हम अंग्रेजी में.
தற்போது இலங்கை தமிழர் விவகாரம் குறித்த அந்த சிறப்பு கவனிப்பு தீர்மானத்தில் வெளியுறவு அமைச்சர் சல்மான் குர்ஷித் பேசிக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார். தற்போது மாநிலங்களில் இந்த சிறப்பு விவாதம் தொடங்கி இருக்கிறது. நேரடி காட்சிகளை தற்போது பார்த்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறீர்கள்.
बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्न है. ये भावना का प्रश्न नहीं है. इस देश में राज्य जो है
Procedures have to be respected.
और इसीलिए देश की दुर्गति है.
नहीं.
Sir, जिससे मैं share that the copies in both
Must be
languages
made available. Yes, I'm aware of that.
Sir, will be made available.
I think this lacuna has to be filled fast and quick.
Sir, there is no difficulty. The papers in Hindi have been signed, and I have signed them in Hindi. Those papers will be made available. I think it's just the time that's taken by the Secretariat to make them available. I regret if the Hindi version is not available immediately. If the Hindi version is not available, sir, I'm very happy to say this in Hindi and in English. It is a matter of our consideration, the matter of concern, and a matter of a humanitarian nature, which is close to the heart of all members in the House. And therefore, I want to share with the House that the greatest humanitarian assistance that the government of India and India have provided to any country has been the assistance that we provided post the ending of hostilities in Sri Lanka and the unfortunate long story of pain and agony in Sri Lanka. At the end of that story, we stepped in to provide maximum humanitarian assistance, and the 300,000 IDPs, internally displaced persons, who were in various camps. The good news is that those camps in September last year have been finally those camps have been closed, and all internally displaced persons have been provided to be rehabilitated, and our constant position was that they should be rehabilitated in their own properties and back where they belong in terms of their residence, in terms of their homestead, and in terms of their livelihoods. Sir, as we move forward, I want to share with the House that our constant attempt has been to persuade our friendly government of Sri Lanka to stand by the commitments that it has made to the world, and also the constitutional amendment 13. And in fact, we have attempted to persuade them to go beyond amendment 13, which is called 13 plus, so that a full and final settlement can be made, which is equitable, which provides participatory democratic rights to all citizens of Sri Lanka, and which does not leave any ground for discrimination or disgruntlement that would once again become a scar on the democratic processes that are going forward. India fully supports the democratic processes, persuades constantly Sri Lankan government. I have had 2 meetings with the foreign minister, and in foreign ministers' meetings have been very rewarding, have been very fruitful, have been very positive, and we do hope that what has been told to us time and again is something will also be reflected in Sri Lanka reaching out to the proponents of the resolution, which is a follow-up resolution to the resolution in which we voted for the resolution. That in this follow-up resolution, I hope that there will be a consensual approach via dialogue and via mediation, that Sri Lanka and the proponents of the resolution can come to wordings and content that will be acceptable to everybody without a serious divide as far as the resolution is concerned.
Thank you. Dr. Maitre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the outset, I am thankful to the members from various parties cutting across the spectrum who are going to participate in this call attention motion, giving to the world a picture of a united face of India to the aid of the suffering Tamils in Sri Lanka. Mr. Chairman, last year on the 14th March 2012, on the eve of the voting on the US-sponsored resolution on Sri Lanka in the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, the then Minister of External Affairs, Mr. S.M. Krishna, made a suo motu statement in Rajya Sabha. 1 year has passed. The External Affairs Minister has changed. Instead of Mr. S.M. Krishna, we have now Mr. Salman Khurshid. But nothing has changed in Sri Lanka. In fact, it has gone from bad to worse. Today's statement by Mr. Salman Khurshid has more or less repeated the rhetoric of the last year's statement by Mr. S.M. Krishna, with only updates in statistics, which will not convince anyone. On 14th March 2012, Mr. S.M. Krishna, and I have his statement here, he assured the House that the objectives of the UPA government continue to remain the achievement of a future for a Tamil community in Sri Lanka that is marked by equality, dignity, justice and self-respect. In each and every one of these objectives, equality, dignity, justice and self-respect, the UPA government has failed miserably to achieve any result. This is because the UPA government refuses to accept the root cause of the ethnic conflict and its blindfolded and misplaced trust on the Sri Lankan president. Unlike the Indian constitution, which guarantees equality to all its citizens, the Sri Lankan constitution positively discriminates against the minority Tamil population of the Sri Lanka. This is at the heart of the decades-old ethnic conflict in Sri Lanka. The LTTE was not the cause, but it is the consequence of the oppression and the repeated denial of justice for the Tamils by the successive governments in Sri Lanka. The root of brutal civil war lie in the complete disregard of political democracy by the Sinhala majority. This resulted in the decades of political violence, oppression and cultural genocide of Tamils. The Tamils' struggle for justice has come around a full circle with the violent and undemocratic oppressions of the non-violent protests during the period from 1948 to 1983 and the end of an armed struggle in May 2009. This had a heavy price of enormous sufferings of Tamils, forced migrations, women, killing of children, disappearances, deaths, war crimes and genocide. In the final phases of the Elam War in May 2009, more than 40,000 innocent civilians were killed in the last few days only. When the AIDMK government, under the leadership of Dr. PuthiyathalaimuraiTV, assumed power in Tamil Nadu in May 2011, the very first resolution passed by the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly was a unanimous resolution, including all political parties in Tamil Nadu, and urging the government of India to take the issue of war crimes to the United Nations and to declare those found guilty of these war crimes against Elam Tamils as war criminals and initiate action by working together with other nations for imposition of economic embargo on Sri Lanka. The UPA government did not even bother to respect the sentiments behind the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly resolution. yielding to the massive outcry and seething anger across Tamil Nadu about the genocide in Sri Lanka, the UPA government was forced to support the US-sponsored resolution against Sri Lanka in the UNHRC in Geneva in March 2012. Even then, India bailed out Sri Lanka by diluting the impact of the resolution by softening its tone and tenor and contents. The March 2012 resolution was about the findings and implementation of the Lessons Learned Reconciliation Commission, LLRC, yet the resolution remains far from being addressed. The Sri Lankan government continued to rain hell on the Tamils in Sri Lanka since May 2009. The sufferings of Tamil continue without any respite even after May 2009. With the Sri Lankan government enforcing cultural genocide in the north and east, on the one hand with the growing presence of military and Sinhala settlements, and on the other hand with destruction and dislocation of historical and archaeological traces of socio-cultural evidences of Tamil identity in that region. The Sri Lankan government has accelerated and enhanced its agenda of silent cultural genocide of Tamils in the name of development of the north and the east. The massive and rapid Sinhala settlements in the north and east of Sri Lanka, it also exposes the intention of the Sri Lankan government in altering the demographic configuration of the natural, traditional Tamil homeland through force and intimidation. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navanidam Pillai, has observed about the lack of progress of the Sri Lankan government and the failure of LLRC in addressing the issue of war crimes and political accountability. The UN Human Rights Council is meeting again next week in Geneva. The United States has submitted its first draft of the resolution promoting reconciliation and accountability in Sri Lanka. The draft resolution expresses concern at the continuing reports of violation of human rights in Sri Lanka, threats of judicial independence and law of the country, and failure of the government of Sri Lanka to fulfill its public commitments on devolution of political authority. We have fresh sets of evidences for these concerns, and I am authenticating all of them to this House. The first is the Human Rights Watch report on sexual violence against Tamils by the Sri Lankan security forces even today. Caption, "We will teach you a lesson." This is a 147-page document. The second is the CD cassette telecast by the Headlines Today channel yesterday night about the sexual violence by the Sri Lankan forces as narrated by the affected Tamil victims. The third is the CD cassette of the documentary No Fire Zone, The Killing Fields of Sri Lanka, documented by the Channel 4. And fourth, the heart-chilling photograph of the 12-year-old Balachandran, son of Prabhakaran, who was killed cold blood while the Sri Lankan army, in the Sri Lankan army custody. Calling Balachandran's killing a war crime, my party supremo Dr. Purachita Devi termed it an inhuman act, and the boy was killed and executed in cold blood just because he was Prabhakaran's son. She likened these war crimes to the days of Nazi's Germany of Hitler. The minister's statement, when he spoke eloquently about the historically friendly relations with the neighboring country. Sri Lanka as a friendly country is a thing of the past. A country which carried a systematic genocide of my umbilical cord brethren Tamils, how can it be termed as a friendly country? As far as we, the Tamils, are concerned, Sri Lanka is an enemy country, and it will remain so as long as justice is meted out to the Tamils. And Elam Tamils have been pawns in the diplomatic game between the governments of India and Sri Lanka for over the last 6 decades, with Indian political, military and strategic interests in the geopolitical context playing havoc with the Tamils in Sri Lanka. There is a general perception that the External Affairs Ministry is run not by the ministers but by the diplomats, whose mindset needs to be changed. It is time that the External Affairs Ministry repositions itself from the Lanka-centric foreign policy approach to the Tamils welfare-centric foreign policy approach. There is no environment to address accountability and dispense justice for these crimes committed domestically in Sri Lanka. A country which does not have an independent judiciary cannot investigate itself. During the United Nations Human Rights Council meeting in Geneva in March 2013, as demanded by my Chief Minister, PuthiyathalaimuraiTV, India should move a single line resolution in the Council condemning the genocide of Tamils in Sri Lanka and demand an independent international investigation. And he urged the government to ask for an economic embargo on Sri Lanka. Finally, a word of caution for my friends from Tamil Nadu. Any amount of conferences in Delhi or Chennai or elsewhere and meeting any amount of ambassadors of 40-50 countries will not wash the sins of the past. People of Tamil Nadu will not accept the sinners suddenly becoming saints. All that you have to do now is to force the UPA government to act and act firmly against Sri Lanka. I hope the minister will address to my concerns and the questions raised. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Sri D. Raja. Sri D. Raja. No, Sri D. Raja. Sri D. Raja.
No,
please. Sri D. Raja. It is an issue concerned. All of us are concerned. Maitriyanji, all of us are concerned. Sri Raja. All of us.
By self-investigation.
All of us are.
Explain whichever is
No, I will go through the records. No. I will go through the record. If there is anything expungable, I will do that. I will go through. No, please take it. Please. No, please take it. Please.
இலங்கையில் நடைபெற்ற இந்த போர்க்குற்றங்கள் தொடர்பான தனது உரையில் அதிமுகவை சேர்ந்த மைத்ரேயன் தனது உரையின் இறுதி பகுதியில் திமுக மீது மறைமுகமாக சில குற்றச்சாட்டுகளை முன்வைத்தார். திமுக தரப்பில் நடத்தப்படக்கூடிய டெல்லியில் நடத்தப்படக்கூடிய இந்த டெசோ மாநாடுகளாக இருக்கட்டும் அல்லது சென்னையில் நடந்த மாநாடுகளாக இருக்கட்டும் இவை பயனளிக்காது என்றும் கடந்த காலங்களில் திமுக இலங்கை தமிழர்களுக்கு எதிராக துரோகம் விளைவித்தாகவும் மறைமுகமான குற்றச்சாட்டுகளை அவர் தெரிவித்திருந்தார். இதற்கு திமுக உறுப்பினர் கனிமொழி மற்றும் திருச்சி சிவா ஆகியோர் கடும் எதிர்ப்பு தெரிவித்து குரல் எழுப்பி வருகின்றனர். இதனால் சிறு நேரம் ஒரு வகையான சலசலப்பு மாநிலங்கள் ஏற்பட்டிருக்கிறது. தற்போது இந்திய கம்யூனிஸ்ட் கட்சியின் தேசிய செயலாளரும் மாநிலங்கள் உறுப்பினருமான திரு டி ராஜா இந்த சிறப்பு கவன ஈர்ப்பு தீர்மானத்தின் மீது தனது உரையை நிகழ்த்தியிருக்கிறார்.
And Tamil people migrated from Sri Lanka, living in different parts of the world. While I plead for this, I urge upon my own government, the government of India, to recast its policy towards Sri Lanka. I wish our government remains truthful, not only to the people of this country, our country, but truthful to the international community. Sir, what happened in Sri Lanka in 2009, the last phase of war, was known to everybody. Till 2009, what went on Sri Lanka was genocide of Tamil people, systematic genocide of Tamil people. After 2009, what is happening today is the structural genocide. Let the minister take note. What is happening today is the structural genocide of Tamil people. Sir, last year when we had the debate on the eve of the United Nations Human Rights Council meeting at Geneva, I pleaded that Government of India should move the resolution. Government of India should play a proactive role. India knows what happened in Sri Lanka and India knows what is happening in Sri Lanka. I want the government to put its hand on its heart and tell us that government did not collaborate with Sri Lankan government in the genocide of Tamil people. I am asking, you touch your heart, be truthful to the nation. Did you not give all? Rajapaksa has confirmed it, but I am asking today, did you not support the war waged by the Sri Lankan government on Tamil people? Yes, I am asking, you place the facts. Otherwise we will take the facts from Sri Lankan government. So now
You are making a blanket allegation.
sir, it is not blanket allegation.
I think
It is not blanket allegation. It is not a blanket allegation. Sir, I am not even Sir, now I am coming to the present situation. The present situation. Now what is going on is structural genocide, and the government of India should aware of this. On March 22, 2012, the UNHRC adopted the resolution promoting reconciliation and accountability in Sri Lanka. After that, anything happened? Even the LLRC or the National Action Program did fail to address the concerns of Tamil people. What is going on today? The threats to freedom of expression and media continue. Several editors of their own newspapers were killed, abducted, and the Reporters Without Borders have placed Sri Lanka at 162nd place out of 177 countries. That is the track record of Sri Lanka, the freedom of press. We do not know what is happening there more. Then, sir, the suppression of free association. Very recently, the Jaffna students, Yalparam University students, were arrested by Sri Lankan authorities for no reason, and they are all students. And how come the army launched a big attack on the students in Jaffna University? Sir, the rule of law, and I think my best friend, Mr. Salman Khurshid, must know the facts. He talks about 13 plus, not even 13 minus, not even 13. On February 4th, 2013, President Rajapaksa, in his Independence Day speech, repudiated greater political autonomy for Tamil-dominated provincial councils. In doing so, the President has contradicted what commitment he gave to Mr. Ban Ki-moon. What commitment you are talking about now? Where is the 13th Amendment? Where is the 13 plus? Where is 13 minus, I am asking? Why do you believe that? Why do you trust that? Why do you mislead this nation? Why do you mislead the Tamil community in India and abroad? I do not agree with that. And Mr. Rajapaksa is the President of Sri Lanka. He has denied. He is not for any autonomy, any ordered autonomy or political autonomy to Tamil areas, Tamil provinces, and Government of India keeps talking about 13th Amendment. What is the meaning of it? Are you not misleading the people? Misleading this country by talking about the 13th Amendment? Sir, now the extrajudicial violence and intimidation continue in Sri Lanka. Let the government say no. Extrajudicial killings take place in Sri Lanka in big way. Enforced disappearances, sir. I can understand disappearance, but this is not disappearance. It is enforced disappearance, and people are taken away just like that. And what happens to them? How they are killed? Nobody knows. Thousands of people. It is not one or two cases, hundreds of cases, thousands of cases. It keeps happening. And torture, sir, unimaginable tortures. Even I have not come across such tortures. I have read the history of Nazism, what happened in Germany, even in the concentration camps of Hitler. We could not see such tortures. Such tortures are committed against Tamil people in Sri Lanka. The sexual exploitation, sir, my friend Maitreyan pointed out, sexual exploitation. The whole nation is agitated. The horrendous crimes committed against women. And look at Sri Lanka, sir. 90,000 war widows are there. 90,000, not one or two. What crime they committed? What sin the Tamil women in Sri Lanka committed? Why should they be subjected to such horrendous crimes of army ganging, the army raping our women? It is not gang rape, it is army rape. What sort of civilization we are talking about, sir? In fact, I think Buddha is bleeding, sir. Buddha is not smiling in Sri Lanka. Buddha known for love and compassion. He bleeds. He sheds blood, not tears, just tears, sir. That is the situation in Sri Lanka. Sir, again, you talk about internally displaced people. What is happening to the internally displaced people? Can you give a fact sheet to us? Are you going by what Sri Lankan government tells you? What is the settlement for internally displaced people? Ask the Sri Lankan Tamils. They will tell you the tragic stories, how you can show some roads constructed by China, or you can show some houses constructed by the help given by India. It is not rehabilitation. It is not resettlement. And you cannot term them as rehabilitation and resettlement, sir. The internally displaced people still are passing through ordeals in Sri Lanka, sir. The whole traditional Tamil area, northern part of Sri Lanka, eastern part of Sri Lanka are under military occupation. It is a fact. It is known to everybody. It is under military occupation. Militarization is on increase and singularization has become a reality today, and Tamil people are displaced. Their properties have been confiscated, their lands have been confiscated, and they cannot go and stay, and all Tamil symbols are destroyed, Tamil identities are destroyed, their temples are destroyed, their churches are destroyed. So these are the problems, sir. Genocide, the structural genocide continues, sir. Even elections are not free in Sri Lanka. They talk about elections to the provincial councils in northern part and eastern part. Even these elections are not fair, and one cannot vouch for these elections. Sir, in such a situation, what India should do? What India should do? I am asking my country, I am asking my government, what India should do. And we have the meeting in the forthcoming UNHRC meeting in Geneva. What India is going to do? And you are saying, let America and Sri Lanka talk to each other. Let them come to some amicable solution. Then we will be spectator. What is this, sir? There was a time when the whole world used to look at India, what position India takes on particular issue. It was the situation when Nehru was the president, prime minister of this country. Even when Madam Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister, the whole world used to look at India. What is the position of India on this issue in such a historic situation? Now you are saying, and sir, I feel...
No, please conclude.
Sir, I am concluding,
please
sir.
Conclude.
I think it is, I feel very much ashamed of this, sir. How come you say, let America, US and Sri Lanka talk to each other, and you come to some understanding, and we will be spectator. What is this, sir? You are letting down the nation. I accuse the Congress-led UPA 2 government. You are letting down this nation. And nation should stand proud in the Committee of Nations, in the international arena. Particularly on this issue, when you talk of genocide, you must be morally, ethically, you must stand upright and speak for the justice. And I urge upon the government, you take the initiative, you play a proactive role, you move a resolution. And if time demands, you should vote against Sri Lanka, and you should demand an impartial international investigation into war crimes and human rights abuses, sir. And it is not just war crimes and human rights violations. It is genocide, destruction of a race, a Tamil race in the neighboring country. We cannot be spectators, onlookers, leaving it to US and Sri Lanka. And I urge upon the government, you play a proactive role. You move the resolution. You vote against Sri Lanka, and you demand an international investigation into war crimes and human rights violations, sir. Otherwise, we will betray the trust that history has in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raja. Now, Sri Tiruchi Siva. Sri Tiruchi Siva.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, one more time.
No, don't say like that. All are equal. Okay, please.
you are confining it to Tamils only. No one else is contributing their participation. So you don't accuse us.
Because everybody is stating it.
So one more time, sir, we are here with bleeding hearts
And then at 2 we will.
and tears totally dried.
At 2 we will take up short duration.
Sir, we are losing faith in this government of
Tomorrow and then
India
there are some
as regard to this issue.
additional names, 1 or 2 minutes which I will have.
We are very sorry to say this,
115 it will be over.
because it is imperative on the part of government of India to have moved a resolution, the United States Human Rights Council. Whereas now we are pleading with government of India to support at least the resolution moved by another country. It's a sorry state of affair.
Then what should I do?
Sir, our leader Dr. Kalainger and his esteemed leadership
Lunch will be,
has convened a TESO conference, Tamil Elam Supporters Conference. Recently in Chennai, sir, so many dignitaries from various countries across the world participated in that. We drafted some resolutions which said that only an international pressure on Sri Lanka would end this problem there existing for long. And when our members of parliament on our leaders' instigation visit to various embassies, persuading them to support the resolution, they are all very happy and they were all very much involved in this matter, and they extended their support at the same time. I should say even outside many people are questioning us. Of course the other countries are supporting, the other country is moving a resolution, what is your country doing? And I said at the outset itself that we are disappointed with this government as regard to this issue for 2 reasons. One is the President's address, and another is the statement which has been laid down before this House by our External Affairs Minister. Sir, the President in his address has said, we are making progress in our engagement with Sri Lanka, including in our efforts to resettle and rehabilitate the internally displaced persons there and to ensure a life of peace, dignity and equality for the Tamil people. Sir, this does not serve the purpose. For one thing, you are in constant touch and engaged with which country? A totally inhuman country. A country which is destroying its own people in its country, which has been going on for long, since 1948. Many a time we have raised the same issue in this House. Our party under our leadership, Dr. Kalainger, has launched so many agitations, so many demonstrations, so many conferences, so many resolutions. Nothing has brought any result. And so to say, at his age of 90, he participates in a demonstration against the visit of the Sri Lankan President Rajapaksa to India. Whereas the government of India, sir, I should say, when the whole world, many countries across the world are on their heels about the resolution that is to come up in the 22nd session of the UNHRC, India is very cool. Not even a word of condemnation. What is going on in Sri Lanka? Evidences are mounting. The patience which everyone is having is becoming thinner and thinner. Sir, kindly re-look into what all you have said. You have, in your statement, you have said 2 things. One about the 13th Amendment, which my colleague, Ms. Comrade Raja mentioned here, that in his President's Day address in the 2013, recently, if at all, I'm sorry to say again, if the minister is not updated or is not able to access to what is going on in Sri Lanka at this moment, we are prepared to give you, sir. If your government machinery is not helping you, or if Sri Lankan government is not helping you, we are prepared to give it. 2013 Independence Day address of the President of Sri Lanka says that he is not for devolution of powers under the 13th Amendment. Then what is the big idea of your statement after his speech in February, rather in January? You are again reiterating the same, that the 13th Amendment will be implemented and we will persuade the government of Sri Lanka. And so also the LLRC, which was instituted after the international pressure in the 19th session of the UNHRC. What is the fate of LLRC? It is not a statement by DMK. It is not a statement by any organization which are interested in Tamils. Sir, the LLRC deeply flawed,
does not meet international standards for an effective accountability mechanism and therefore does not and cannot satisfy the joint commitment of the President of Sri Lanka and the Secretary General to an accountability process. This is the UN panel of experts report. And again, sir, the LLRC was highly criticized by the UN panel of experts, international human rights organizations, due to inherent bias, limited mandate, lack of independence, and failure to meet international standards. In the case of LLRC, at least 3 of its members have serious conflicts of interest. The work and methodology of the LLRC demonstrate that it has not conducted genuine truth-seeking on what happened in the final stages of the armed conflict, nor does it seek to investigate systematically, objectively, and impartially. UN panel of experts report. And lack of mandate. While we would welcome the opportunity, it is not only failed to meet the basic international standards, for independent and impartial inquiries, it is proceeding against the backdrop of government failure to address impunity and continuing human rights abuses. And again you say the LLRC's recommendations will be implemented by that government. Sir, another information which the minister can share with us, there was a court of inquiry appointed by the commander of the army, commenced on January 2, 2012. The army court of inquiry was allegedly appointed to investigate civilian casualties during the final phase of war, especially as regards to alleged evidence of actions such as those depicted by Channel 4 Sri Lanka's killing fields video footage. But this court of inquiry too was fundamentally flawed. As predicted, on February 15, 2013, the court of inquiry released its report, completely absolving the army of any blame in the killing of civilians. And you again say that we are depending upon the Sri Lankan government. And I give it as a wake-up call to the journalists in this country, sir. In India, how much freedom the press is enjoying, we know, across the world in many countries. But in Sri Lanka, the Red Cross, which can even visit a battlefield, cannot enter into Sri Lanka. No foreign journalist allowed inside. No representative from the UN is allowed inside. Moreover, sir, to the shock of one and all, in the recent years, 44 journalists have been killed in Sri Lanka. One person has been convicted for life sentence for he has criticized the government in favor of Tamils. The Supreme Court judge has been removed for the sake that they were for Tamils. And moreover, sir, 54 journalists have been exiled from Sri Lanka. You say democracy is prevailing in Sri Lanka. You say that you will coordinate, you will engage in bilateral discussions with them. You call them a friendly country. Sir, I don't want to start from the alphabet that ethnically, historically, geographically and in every way, Tamils are the natural native inhabitants of Sri Lanka. Since independence, the majority Sinhalese started its campaign against wiping out the Tamils. When the natives were striving to fight for their rights, they were called as terrorists. They were branded as terrorists. They were killed. And I would like to say again, you may say, when we project all these things, when we say that you are extending money, you are giving 500 crores for the rehabilitation. But are you sure? Are you verified? Have you monitored whether that money has been spent for the welfare of the Tamils? Are the houses built which have been for the Tamils meant are occupied by Sinhalese? For every Tamilian, one army man is standing there. The sexual exploitation which was depicted by all my colleagues, I couldn't explain that in words because I would lose my control. The Tamil women known for dignity and self-respect is being raped by the army systematically. And because all are widows, they don't have men there. There is no one to voice for them. Sir, I heard the loud voice of India in the UNO from here within. Whenever, wherever there is a human right violation in any part of the world, I heard the voice of India. But you can reach Sri Lanka from Rameswaram. It is just 22 kilometers away, but your voice is not echoing in Sri Lanka. You are not able to stop. You are not able to control that government with the exploitation of army, totally devastating the Tamils. Sexual exploitation of our women. The killing of our children. If you say that it is a foreign state affair, it's a sovereign country, we cannot directly enter into it. May I be compelled to ask a clarification from the minister, what prompted you to send your army to Sri Lanka to keep the peace there?
Now please conclude.
No sir, please, kindly permit us. Kindly permit us. Don't restrict us saying the consider. We are totally out of emotions. At least we stand under control and pleading with this government. I would like to ask, how did you send your army to keep peace force there? How did you extend logic and military assistance to that government if it is a foreign country? Which authority authorized you to go and extend logic and military assistance to that government when they were massacring our people? But we were pleading with you. Let me remind you once again, when Mr. Siddhartha Shankar, the Congress Chief Minister, was in West Bengal, when there was problems for the Bengalis in the East Pakistan, what Mr. Siddhartha Shankar said? He asked the government of India, either your army should go and rescue my Bengali people there or my police would go there. We didn't go to that extent. Even when we were ruling, even now we are under control. We organize people. We conduct rallies. We convene conferences. We pass resolutions. Our leaders writing repeated letters. At his age of 90, he is crying. Those people who have said that even innocent people will be killed in a war are pleading. We don't go to that extent. But our leader, our party, we are still coming here.
No, please.
Sir, one moment, sir. Please, kindly, sir. And evidences are mounting.
Please, sir.
And sir, one moment, sir. Very, very important.
I know the
and this sensational,
I know.
which has come out everywhere. The killing of this small kid, 12 years old Balachandra.
See,
12-year-old Balachandra. Who is he?
You know it is
a very small kid, sir. Sir, I was proud in sharing
against the rules.
that the sacrifice of Bhagat Singh when he laid his life at the age of 24. But this kid has been killed at the age of 12. Just because he is the son of Prabhakaran, not only he is the only kid.
No,
many children have been killed. Children are without limbs. Women are without what they should not lose.
Now please come.
Sir, kindly, sir, please bear with us. Kindly, please bear with us. When our people are losing their lives, when our women are losing what they should not, when our children are losing everything, see, we are proud to say that this kid belongs to our race, the Tamil race. Whoever is father, forget it. He belongs to our race. Why? All the bullets are on his chest. 5 bullets on the small kid, sir, at a point blank range. Just see, 10 minutes before, the innocent face of that kid eating biscuits. And 10 minutes after, he is on floor with 5 bullets on his chest. You know why I am proud of it? In Tamil culture, the Tamil literature says that in the battlefield, when the enemy is attacking, if the victim is fleeing out of the battle, he will be shot at the back. He will be shot at the back.
Yeah.
But this kid has withstood those 5 bullets.
You made your point. Now you take us.
He is the real symbolification of our Tamil race. He has laid down his life to save the Tamils.
Please.
Sir, please. Now that we are pleading with this government, what you have to do? At least, I know very well, we wish that your government should have moved a resolution. You should have persuaded all the countries, but you have not done so. But at least now, support the US resolution that is to come up in the 22nd session of the UNHRC. And not only with that, an impartial international inquiry has to be created to go into the allegations of war crimes and the human rights violations in Sri Lanka. And only 3 things. The first thing is, we have to support the resolution in the UNHRC. And second, sir, we say on behalf of the people of Tamil Nadu here on the floor of this house, never should you attempt in inviting the Sri Lankan president to this country, and you should not extend a red carpet welcome to him until otherwise this government is solved. No, sir.
No, please.
You should not extend and you should never invite him on behalf of the government. This is the voice of the Lord. And third question, the choice is yours. Decision is yours. There are 2 options before you. One, whether you want to be friendly with an inhuman, unfriendly country which is butchering its own people, or you want to maintain friendship with your brethren in the southern part of this country. Decide yourself. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Now see, Sri Venkayaji. Now honorable members, see, all of us share the feeling. See, all of us share the feeling, I also, but I have a problem with the time because there are two more in the main list and there are additional names. Is already going to be one. I don't know what to do. Please.
And we can skip the election.
தற்போது இலங்கையின் இறுதிப் போரில் நடைபெற்ற போர் குற்றங்கள் தொடர்பாகவும் அங்கு நடைபெற்ற மனித உரிமைகள் தொடர்பாகவும் சிறப்பு விவாதம் மாநிலங்களவையில் சிறப்பு கவனஈர்ப்பு தீர்மானம் நடைபெற்று வருகிறது. இதில் முதலில் அதிமுகவை சேர்ந்த திரு மைத்ரேயன், அடுத்ததாக இந்திய கம்யூனிஸ்ட் கட்சியைச் சேர்ந்த திரு டி ராஜா மற்றும் திமுகவை சேர்ந்த திருச்சி சிவா ஆகியோர் உரையாற்றினார்கள். இவர்களின் பேச்சுக்களின் மொத்த சாராம்சமாக அங்கு நடைபெற்ற போர் குற்றங்களில் இன அழிப்பு என்பது நடைபெற்றிருக்கிறது, தமிழ் இன அழிப்பு என்பது திட்டமிடப்பட்ட வகையில் நடைபெற்றிருப்பதாகவே மூவரின் பேச்சின் ஒட்டுமொத்த சாராம்சம் இருந்தது. மேலும் இந்திய அரசு தன்னிச்சையாக ஒரு தீர்மானத்தை ஐநா மனித உரிமை வகையில் கொண்டு வர வேண்டும் என்கிற விஷயமும் தொடர்ந்து வலியுறுத்தப்பட்டு வருகிறது. அடுத்ததாக பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சியைச் சேர்ந்த திரு வெங்கையா நாயுடு இந்த சிறப்பு கவன தீர்மானத்தின் மீது தனது உரையை நிகழ்த்திக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார். நேரடி காட்சிகளை பார்க்கலாம்.
Of the cause of Sri Lankan Tamils, the people in general, and particularly the people in the southern parts of the country, they were totally disappointed with the presidential reference he has made, which was casual. No reference was made to the serious allegations of human rights violations committed on the Tamil population in Sri Lanka, including the alleged cold-blooded killing of the 12-year child. Sir, let me make it very clear on behalf of my party, we do not approve the methods adopted by the LTT. We are also aware that the Prime Minister of this country was killed by the followers of the LTT. So we cannot forget that. But at the same time, you cannot take it as a reason to kill an innocent boy of 12 years and then fire him at a point-blank range and kill him. It's really a shame. I do not know how people can keep quiet after seeing these photographs and also after seeing the visuals aired by different channels in this country. The boy was simply sitting, he was given something to eat, maybe biscuits or some other food. He was eating the food and then you fire him from point-blank range and then he is killed. And now the Sri Lankan government says these reports are untrue. If the reports are untrue, the boy must be alive today. And it is for the duty of the Sri Lankan government to trace the boy and then place it before the international community. The Sri Lankan government is not able to do any such thing. Sir, I am not suggesting we must sever our ties with Sri Lanka. My party's approach is different from the approach of some other parties. We have a historical relationship with Sri Lanka. We need to maintain good relations with all our neighbors. Even we are engaging Pakistan in debate and discussion. In spite of all the provocations made by Pakistan of aiding, abetting, funding and training terrorists across the border and sending them to our country. Because we can't change neighbors. But at the same time, the question that comes to the mind of all people in the country is, can we be silent spectators of what is happening in Sri Lanka? Number one. Number two, sir, please understand, the External Affairs Minister and the entire country should understand, we are not trying to poke into the internal affairs of other countries. There is a historical background between Sri Lanka and India. Why Indian government has given training to Sri Lankan army? We must introspect ourselves. Why IPKF was sent there? Why we have given other assistance also? Now you can't simply brush aside all these issues and simply put them under carpet. They are facts now. So that being the case, if a country takes your military assistance, if a country takes your training, and if your country takes your assistance of sending Indian army to Sri Lanka, that means there is a special relationship or understanding. That being the case, the Indian government has got every right to prevail upon Sri Lanka to implement what has been assured. One, the 13th amendment, sir, the latest thing, see the audacity of the Sri Lankan government. The 13th amendment, about the 13th amendment, sir, there are reports in the media which have not been so far contradicted by their government or our government. The Jatika Hela Urumana, led by Buddhist monks, and National Freedom Front, breakaway group of JVP, both partners of Sri Lanka Freedom Party, led UPFA, have demanded that the amendment be nullified. The professionally left Janata Vimukti Peramana has also made a similar demand. Adding to this chorus, sir, please underline, I request the minister to take note of this. The Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is also the sibling of the President Mahendra Rajapaksa, he said that the 13th amendment should go. See the audacity. You helped them, you assisted them even militarily, and at the end of it, both the countries have come to some understanding of a devolution of powers to the people of Sri Lanka, to the Tamils in the north and the east. And now, if this ruling party and its defense secretary says that the 13th amendment should go, then what else? What else remains? The displaced people, they are not being rehabilitated so far, Honorable Minister. You have spent money, you have given assistance and all, that is one part of the story. But at the same time, what is happening there? Is it reaching the people concerned? What about their honor? What about the sufferings they have undergone through? For that, there are two approaches to be there. One is supporting the resolution, condemning these war crimes against the international norms. Second is asking for a credible, independent inquiry into what has happened. This is one part of it. The second part is making the Sri Lankan government to understand that an agreement which was signed at the time at the behest of the then Prime Minister, the initiative was taken and agreed upon by Sri Lanka, and you can't go back on that now. Recently, some of Tamil MPs also met the Honorable Prime Minister of our country.
Venkayaji, please once. See, there was a suggestion to accommodate more members who want to speak to do away with the lunch break. That's one thing. Otherwise, we will continue and finish it, have a shorter lunch break. Whichever the House agree. Yeah. And then we will decide. We will continue it and then we will decide at the end. Yes, please. Please, Venkayaji.
Made by LLRC. Sir, I must say that the United Nations, please go through this. This is not an allegation made by ADMK or DMK or Communist Party or BJP. The United Nations, sir, the UN Secretary General's panel of experts, which focused on the alleged war criminals, found serious and credible allegations against the Sri Lanka government on several accounts. The panel suggested certain short-term recommendations which merited acceptance and implementation by Sri Lankan government, which unfortunately the Sri Lankan government chose to reject. Secondly, sir, the Sri Lankan government appointed its own commission, the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, the findings of which are termed flawed at every level by the Amnesty International and their right groups. The commission cleared the military of allegations of attacks on civilians. Even the UNHRC noted with concern that the LLRC reports does not address serious allegations of violation of international law. Some of the LLRC constructive recommendations also are not even accepted by Sri Lanka government and not acted. Sir, I would like to point out that the panel of UN experts said, quote, during the final stages of the war, the United Nations political organs and bodies failed to take action that might have protected the civilians. This is what the panel is saying. United Nations panel. Practically they have failed. As our colleagues have said, even we have failed. India as a country, we have failed to protect the innocent people there. If it is a war, that's a different matter. Sir, it is a conflict wherein the army was let loose on innocent people. I have no problem if the Sri Lankan government want to take action on LTTE. I am not coming in the way. As I told you, I am not in agreement with the LTTE ideology. But at the same time, is it wrong to espouse the cause of Sri Lankan Tamils there? Is it wrong to organize them? Is it wrong to speak for the aspirations? And what is they are asking? They are asking for a say, a reasonable and fair participation in their own governance. That being the case, India should take a very constructive this thing. I would request the minister, sir, I know this is a very delicate matter.
Okay,
it's also yes, please. This is also a very sensitive matter. That being the case, but at the same time, in the name of sensitivity and delicacy, we cannot ignore the reality. Please recall the earlier participation of India, the earlier initiatives taken by India, including sending our IPKF and then thereby losing around 1,100 Indian soldiers' lives. That is the history.
Okay.
That must be reminded to Sri Lankan government.
Yes.
And we must engage Sri Lankan government and also bring international pressure to see that the Sri Lanka acts on 13th Amendment. Sri Lanka accept for an inquiry and also take speedy steps for implementation of the plan for the displaced people. That alone will meet some justice. I only, at the end of it, I say, if the government and also some of the friends who are now expressing concern, if they were serious at that time of the conflict, things would not have come to this stage.
Okay,
So I have to say it very clearly.
Yes,
I have to say it very clearly, sir, and that it was height of the tension. And all these things are happening. Indian government became a silent spectator. I am not accusing the Congress party alone. All the parties who are part of the government at the time, they have to take this responsibility. I am not trying to score political points. At the same time, I will be failing in my responsibility if you do not remind the government that you have failed. Please do not fail further.
Yes,
take steps, and also keep in mind, as I told you earlier, you will be agreeing with me that the integrity and unity of Sri Lanka, nobody is questioning. We want the unity and integrity to be maintained. At the same time, people should be given their equal rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Venkayaji.